The East End of London was a graveyard for the living. It was a place of soot, gin and despair, where the fog was thick enough to choke a man and the river smelled of secrets. The Duke of Lancaster, Lord Arthur Stirling, hated it. He was a man of marble halls and velvet coats, a peer of the realm who had never known a day of hunger in his life. He was only here because his factory foreman had reported a theft, a crate of expensive silk stolen from the warehouse, and Arthur preferred to handle discipline personally. He stepped out of his carriage, his polished boots sinking into the mud. The street was narrow, lined with hovels that leaned against each other like drunks. "Stay here," he ordered his driver, "and keep your pistol ready." Arthur walked toward the warehouse, his cane tapping a sharp rhythm on the cobbles. He felt eyes on him. The residents of the slum watched him with a mixture of fear and hunger. He tightened his grip on his cane. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the alley to his left. "Get off me!" a woman's voice screamed. Arthur turned. Through the gloom he saw a struggle. 3 men, rough, dirty, smelling of cheap ale, had cornered a woman against a brick wall. One of them was holding her arm, twisting it. "Give it here, girl!" the man snarled. "I saw it shine! I have nothing!" she cried, kicking at him. "Liar!" The man slapped her. The sound cracked like a whip. Arthur didn't think. He didn't consider the danger. He simply moved. "Unhand her," he commanded, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade. The men turned. They saw the velvet coat. They saw the gold signet ring. They sneered. "Lost your way, pretty boy?" the leader asked, pulling a knife. "Go back to your palace. This is our business." "It became my business when you struck a woman," Arthur said calmly. The man lunged. Arthur didn't flinch. He sidestepped, bringing his heavy ebony cane down on the man's wrist. The bone snapped. The knife clattered to the stones. The other 2 hesitated. Arthur raised his cane, pointing it like a sword. "Leave," he said, "or the next swing breaks a skull." They ran. They dragged their injured leader away, disappearing into the fog like rats. Arthur turned to the woman. She had slid down the wall and was crouching in the mud, clutching her arm. Her dress was rags, more holes than fabric. Her face was smeared with coal dust. "Are you hurt?" Arthur asked, reaching into his pocket for a handkerchief. The woman looked up. Arthur stopped. Her eyes. They were violet, a startling, piercing purple that seemed to glow in the dim light. They were eyes that didn't belong in a slum. They belonged in a legend. "I do not need your pity," she hissed, slapping his hand away. Arthur frowned. "I am offering assistance, not pity." "I know you're kind," she spat, pulling herself up. She winced, favouring her left leg. "You saved the damsel so you can claim the reward, but I have no coin, my lord, so you wasted your time." She turned to limp away. Arthur watched her. There was something about her posture. Even in rags, even injured, she walked with a straight back. She held her head high, defying the filth around her. It was regal. "Wait," Arthur called out. She ignored him. Arthur stepped forward. He caught her arm, gently this time. "Let me go," she cried, spinning around. As she turned, the hood of her cloak fell back. The rain began to wash the soot from her hair. And there, glinting in the matted tangles, was something that made Arthur's breath catch in his throat. It was a hairpin. It wasn't brass or tin. It was gold. And set into the head of the pin was a diamond the size of a robin's egg. It caught the light of the gas lamp, throwing out fractured rainbows. But it wasn't the size of the stone that shocked him. It was the setting. It was engraved with a crest, a double-headed eagle, the imperial crest of the Romanovs. Arthur stared at it. He looked at her violet eyes. He remembered the stories his father had told him, stories of the Empress's sister who had fled Russia 20 years ago during the uprising. She had vanished at sea, along with her infant daughter. The child was rumoured to have been wearing the imperial diamond. "You," Arthur whispered, "you are Anastasia." The woman froze, the defiance drained out of her, replaced by a terrified stillness. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I am the Duke of Lancaster," Arthur said. "And you are the Grand Duchess." "No," she said quickly, pulling her hood back up. "I am Anya. I sell flowers. You are mistaken." She tried to pull away, but Arthur held on. "That pin," he said. "It is worth more than this entire city. Why are you living in a gutter? Why didn't you sell it?" Anya looked at him. Her eyes were fierce. "Because it is who I am," she said fiercely. "My mother gave it to me before the waves took her. She said, 'Never forget you are a Romanov. You do not sell your soul for bread.'" Arthur looked at the woman in rags who would rather starve than pawn her heritage. He felt a strange, unfamiliar ache in his chest. He had met kings with less dignity than this beggar. "You cannot stay here," Arthur said. "Those men, they saw the shine. They will come back. They will kill you for it." "Let them try," Anya said, though her hand trembled. "Come with me," Arthur said. Anya laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "To where? Your palace? To be your scullery maid? Or perhaps your mistress?" "To be my guest," Arthur said firmly. "I offer you sanctuary, nothing more." Anya studied his face. She looked for the lie. She looked for the lust or the greed she saw in every other man's eyes. She found only concern. "Why?" she asked. "Because," Arthur said, offering her his arm as if they were at a ball, "a queen should not have to fight rats for her dinner." She hesitated. Then slowly she placed her dirty, calloused hand on his velvet sleeve. "I suppose," she said, lifting her chin, "I could eat." The arrival at Lancaster House was a scandal. The servants gaped as the Duke led the filthy woman through the marble foyer. "Draw a bath," Arthur ordered his housekeeper, Mrs. Gable. "Burn these rags and find something suitable for a lady of rank." Mrs. Gable sniffed. "Rank, Your Grace? She smells of the fish market. She is a Grand Duchess," Arthur snapped. "Treat her as such, or you will find yourself in the fish market by morning." Mrs. Gable paled and curtsied. An hour later, the doors to the drawing room opened. Arthur stood by the fireplace nursing a brandy. He turned. He dropped his glass. Anya stood there. She was wearing a gown of midnight blue velvet, one of his late mother's. Her hair was washed and pinned up, revealing the elegant curve of her neck. The soot was gone. She was breathtaking. The violet eyes were wary, but the fear was gone. She walked into the room, and for the first time Arthur saw her, not as a project, but as a woman. "Is the food ready?" she asked bluntly. "I am starving," Arthur smiled. He bowed. "Dinner is served, Your Highness." Over a meal of roast duck and wine, Anya told him her story. It was a tale of survival, of washing ashore in a crate, of being raised by a kind fisherman until he died, then being thrown onto the streets, of hiding her violet eyes, of fighting every day to keep the pin, her only link to a mother she barely remembered. Arthur listened, captivated. He realised that his own life, his balls, his hunts, his politics, was hollow compared to her fight. For weeks, Anya stayed at Lancaster House. Arthur hired tutors to reteach her the languages she had forgotten. He bought her dresses. He walked with her in the gardens. But he didn't touch her. He treated her like glass, precious but fragile. He didn't know that Anya hated it. She wasn't glass. She was steel forged in fire. She missed the fight, and she was starting to feel something for the Duke that terrified her more than any alley thug. One evening they were in the library. Anya was reading a history of Russia. "Arthur," she said, closing the book, "why are you doing this?" Arthur looked up from his correspondence. "Doing what? Feeding me? Clothing me? You asked for nothing." "You are a guest," he said simply. "I am a charity case," she corrected him. "You are polishing me like a trophy. Do you plan to present me at court, to show off your discovery?" Arthur stood up. "I plan to restore you, Anya. I have written to the Russian ambassador." Anya froze. "You did what?" "I told him you are alive," Arthur said, smiling. "He is coming tomorrow. He will verify your identity. You will go home, Anya. You will have your title back, your palaces." He thought she would be happy. Instead, Anya's face crumpled. "You are sending me away," she whispered. Arthur faltered. I am sending you home, to your people, my people." Anya stood up, her voice rising. "I don't know those people. I don't know Russia. I grew up in London, but you are a Grand Duchess. I am a survivor," she shouted. "And I thought I was safe here, with you." She looked at him, her eyes shining with tears. "I don't want a palace, Arthur. I wanted a home." She turned and ran from the room. Arthur stood there, stunned. He had thought he was being noble. He had thought he was giving her what she wanted. He realised, with a sinking heart, that he was trying to fix her lineage when he should have been listening to her heart. The next morning, the Russian ambassador arrived. Count Borodin, a large man with a beard like a hedge and eyes like flint. He inspected the hairpin. He inspected Anya's eyes. He asked her questions about her childhood. Finally, he nodded. "It is her," Borodin announced. "The resemblance is undeniable, and the pin is authentic." Arthur felt a sick feeling in his stomach. It was done. "Pack your things, Your Highness," Borodin said to Anya. "We leave for St. Petersburg within the week. The Emperor will be interested to meet his niece." Anya looked at Arthur. She waited. She waited for him to speak, to say stay, to say she is mine. Arthur clenched his jaw. He wanted to scream it, but he was a duke. He knew duty. Her duty was to her throne. His duty was to let her go. "Congratulations, Your Highness," Arthur said stiffly. Anya's face hardened. She turned to the ambassador. "I will be ready," she said coldly. 3 days later, the carriage stood in the courtyard. Anya descended the steps in a fur-lined cloak, looking every inch the royal. Arthur stood by the door. "Goodbye, Anya," he said. Anya looked at him. She reached into her cloak. She pulled out the hairpin. "Here," she said, holding it out. Arthur frowned. "I cannot take that. It is your birthright." "It is the price of my room and board," she said sharply. "Take it. I do not want to be in your debt." She shoved it into his hand. Arthur looked at the diamond. It was cold. Anya turned to get into the carriage. "Wait!" Arthur shouted. It wasn't a duke's shout. It was a desperate man's shout. Anya stopped. Arthur walked up to her. He took her hand. Not the gloved one, but the bare one. He ignored the ambassador, who was sputtering in protest. "I don't want the diamond," Arthur said. "Then what do you want?" Anya challenged him. "I want the woman who fought 3 men in an alley," Arthur said. "I want the woman who eats roast duck with her fingers when she thinks no one is looking. I want the woman who told me that a title is just a collar." Anya stared at him. "I don't care about Russia," Arthur whispered, "and I don't care about the scandal. Stay, not as a guest, not as a duchess, as my wife." The ambassador stepped forward. "This is preposterous. She is imperial blood. She cannot marry an English duke." Anya looked at the ambassador. Then she looked at Arthur. She smiled. It was the first real smile she had given him in days. She turned to Borodin. "You are right," she said. "A Grand Duchess cannot marry a duke." Arthur's heart broke. "So," Anya continued, pulling off her fur cloak and dropping it in the mud, "I resign." Borodin gasped. You what?" "I abdicate," Anya said. "I am not Anastasia. I am Anya, and Anya stays here." She turned to Arthur. "Unless the offer is withdrawn?" she asked archly. Arthur didn't answer with words. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her. It was a kiss that scandalised the ambassador, shocked the servants, and sealed the fate of the House of Lancaster. Borodin stormed off, cursing in Russian. The carriage rattled away empty. Anya looked down at the hairpin in Arthur's hand. "You kept the payment," she noted. Arthur looked at the diamond. He walked to the edge of the courtyard where the river flowed past the estate. He threw the pin. It arched through the air, catching the sunlight one last time, before splashing into the dark water. Gone. Why? Anya gasped. That was a fortune. Arthur took her hand. "I already have the treasure," he said. "I don't need the receipt. They were married in the village church, with the tenants as witnesses." Anya wore white, but she pinned her veil with a simple sprig of lavender. She never went to Russia. She never claimed her throne. But the people of the East End, the slum where she had lived, never forgot her. Every winter, carriages from Lancaster House would arrive, filled with coal, food and blankets, and on the handle of every crate was a stamp, not a lion, but a dove, a reminder that true nobility isn't about the blood in your veins, but about remembering where you came from. Anya gave up an empire for love. Most people would say she was foolish, but she knew that a cold palace is just a prison with better furniture. She chose warmth, and that brings us to the end. Would you have thrown the diamond into the river? Be honest. I think I might have kept it, just in case. If you loved Anya's Fire, hit that like button to pay your respects to the Queen of the East End. And if you want more stories of people who chose love over gold, subscribe to the channel. We are building a kingdom of our own right here. Tell me in the comments, what is the most valuable thing you have ever given up for someone you love? Was it worth it?